Hello everybody, my name's Nicola and welcome back to my channel. I blog over at thefrugalcottage.com all about budgeting, money saving, investing and lots of things in between. And today's video is a bit of an update from me about how I'm finding things and the things I'm doing in relation to our finances during this really strange time. Don't forget to like and subscribe and I'll get started. So, isn't it a weird situation that we find ourselves in? I think if I look back to the start of March when I was setting my monthly goals, I was thinking ahead, trying to plan ahead, I personally didn't see this coming. I didn't think we'd be in the situation we are today, where we are in the UK, we're on kind of lockdown, where so it's only essential journeys. You're not supposed to leave your house for anything other than kind of food shopping, exercise once a day. You're not even supposed to go with people like food shopping, or it's just strange. I don't think there's any other way around that in terms of explaining the situation, and it's tough. I think it is tough. So obviously, or maybe not obviously, I'm at home with my two children now. The schools are shut, so our eldest isn't at school, and my youngest isn't going to play or anything like that. I am self-isolating at home to stay safe, and my husband is classed as a key worker, so he is going to work every day and coming home, and that alone makes me slightly nervous because I'm worried about how many people he comes into contact with and all that. But that's a different story, I suppose, that he's continuing to do that, and as long as he's needed to, will do so. And just hope that he doesn't contact or come into contact with anybody with anything that could then be brought home. But it's just a weird scenario. So even things like I was planning my no spend days at the start of the month, I always do that for our budget, and I recommend doing that if you're someone who likes tracking things and wants to change. But when I said, I'm going to aim for 20 no spend days this month, I did not envisage me having to stay at home all the time and everywhere being shut. So obviously a silver lining, if you can call it that, to this is that in terms of finances, and lots of people I've spoken to at the moment find that their overall spending has gone down, and the reason for that is that you can't go anywhere. So I can't take the boys to soft play, for example, even if I wanted to, because it's not open. I can't just pop to the shops because they're not open. And the kind of the upside to that, I suppose, is the fact that the spending has to go down in relation to that. However, what I wouldn't give to be able to take them to soft play this week, it's a weird one. And thankfully we have a garden, so we've been out in the garden this week. The weather wouldn't, typical when we're all kind of stuck inside, has been absolutely wonderful this week. So we've been in our garden quite a bit, trying to get some fresh air as such. It's not the same as normal. Both boys are used to quite a busy routine. Well, I guess we all are. The 4-year-old will be at school all week. He has gymnastics on Saturdays, and all of that has gone, and we're now just confined to our 4 walls. They don't see their grandparents, and we see them quite regularly. It's just the non-contact, I think, and we've been using FaceTime, but it's not the same. But in terms of finances, the things I am trying to keep the same, because I'm a creature of habit and I like my routine, and I think most people really do like routine. I know people say, oh, it's, when you get to choose your own thing and do your own thing, yeah, it's great, but doesn't the novelty wear off pretty quickly? In terms of finances, I'm trying to do the same things as normal, just to keep it ticking over, and keep things appearing as if it is normal, if that makes sense. Please tell me I'm not the only one, because that would make me feel loads better. So I'm continuing to budget. Yeah, it's had a bit of a knock-on effect in terms of what I am budgeting for, but I'm trying to keep our budget on track, as I always do. I've got my budget binder, I'm filling that in, I'm tracking those spend days and all that. I actually find that quite reassuring. It's something that I do anyway, and so I'm continuing, even though it's very different to maybe last month or even January, which seems like an absolute lifetime ago now. The routine of checking in and updating that is what I'm doing all the time anyway. I'm continuing to meal plan. Now, I've done a video about how to save money on food, and I talk about that. I'll leave a link below to that, please check it out. I talk a lot about how I meal plan to save money on food. And I am continuing to do that. However, if you're someone who's been food shopping or tried to go food shopping, you'll know that there is not a lot in the supermarkets, or there hasn't been anyway. So I'm trying to keep our meal plan exactly the same. So I write it out, look in the cupboards, write a list, and then go shopping. I'm trying to still do that. However, the main shift, and this hasn't happened really before, is my husband is now doing our food shop. And the reason for that is because I'm self-isolating at home, I'm trying to avoid leaving at all costs. I'm in the high risk category, so I'm trying to avoid contact with other people, which sounds weird. But meal planning, so I'm sending him with a shopping list. And he's been able to get the majority of stuff that I've sent him for, but there are definitely things that we haven't been able to get, like pasta for example, because I know everybody is seemingly trying to find that. I don't know what people are doing with all this pasta who've managed to buy it, but also in terms of kind of food shopping, I've noticed we're having to buy more branded things instead of the supermarket owned version, which is always cheaper. But you know, it's kind of shifting and adapting to that, which is strange. But the tracking of spending and the meal planning stuff, I'm trying to keep the same as I would week in, week out. And yes, it's different. I'm someone who actually enjoys going food shopping. I enjoy the aspect of going food shopping, looking through the things, deciding, all that kind of stuff. And it's one of the only times in the week that I'd ever have to myself. But that's obviously changed for the short term. But in terms of keeping that the same in terms of our finances, they're the two main things I'm trying to keep the same. Because there are things that are not normal in our current scenario. So I was talking to someone online the other day about being stuck at home, and then she sent me a picture saying, you're not stuck at home, you're safe at home. And I'm trying to get in the mindset of not thinking, I'm stuck in here again. I'm not, I'm safe in my house, I have my 2 children with me, and we are safe, hopefully safe here, providing nothing kind of gets through the door, so to speak. But I've never spent so much time in my house, ever. And that is a new, that's adapting to a new scenario. My 2 boys have never spent so much time together as, well, forever. That we've been in lockdown since Monday in our house, so we've been at home since Monday. Husband went to work and we've just been here ever since. And the 4-year-old, he doesn't understand why he can't go and play with next door neighbour's kids. He doesn't understand why he can't go in the car and go see Granny and Grandad, because we see them all the time. It's that's difficult. And yes, I recognise the privilege of being able to stay at home and that, we've got a house with a garden, but it's also okay to say that you're finding this hard. I think there's a lot of people who are finding this tough, and that's okay to say. I think no one could have seen this coming. You could have been the most organised person ever in terms of your budget, your finances, your emergency fund, everything you could have had put in place could not have prepared you for this. And it's that adapting. And someone said the other day, it's like we're grieving for something that's gone. And yeah, I absolutely agree with that. We are grieving for the things that we thought we'd be doing. And you know how much we've taken for granted as well. So it's things like seeing other people, like giving somebody a hug, like the little tiny things that, seemed so insignificant now seem quite important. And I think if anything comes out of this, it's that we will kind of see things in a different light, hopefully, whenever this is finally over. But adapting and being able to feel sad for what we're not doing is okay. It is a bit of a grieving process, and there are lots of people now who are in very sticky situations through no fault of their own, and they're having to work through that without any guidance, because again, it's a bit of a shock. And if you're not prepared, which none of us were, no one could have been prepared for this. Yeah, I'm sure if you're a multi-millionaire and you live in a massive mansion with a swimming pool and whatever, being stuck at home and that, probably not the worst thing to happen to you. But for lots of families who are now trying to get by, juggling, working from home, trying to do some kind of schoolwork with your children, if you've got multiple children at school, you'll have different things you're trying to get them to do during the day, getting on with real life at the same time, and trying to figure out what on earth you're doing from a day-to-day basis, and it is kind of like survival mode. And the impact on finances, it depends what kind of shopper you are, I suppose. If you're someone who kind of shops online a lot and finds a comfort in that, which is not, that's not a criticism, it's not a bad thing. You might find that actually you're shopping more to kind of fill in the time, if that makes sense. We're stuck at home. There's only so many things you can do to pass the time, especially if you've got young children or children at all, and you're trying to make them do schoolwork that perhaps doesn't make that much sense, or that they just don't want to do because they're not in a classroom situation. You're not a teacher, you're their parent or carer. It's weird. And you might find yourself actually spending more because it's filling a void there that you'd normally be busy, or you'd normally be doing something else, or you'd normally be outside doing something, or there's 101 different things that you maybe normally should be doing, or normally would be doing, and you can't. So I'm not going to lie, on Friday I went and ordered some clothes for the boys because I'd had enough of just sat there, and I saw an advert on Instagram and thought, oh, that was really nice. And that was that. And it wasn't a big spend, and I've not gone too over the top, but I could see how that would happen. And that's not like me. I don't tend to be swayed by adverts. I used to be, and then deleted everything. I don't get emails from companies. I don't have any apps on my phone. All that's gone because I don't generally be swayed by things like that. But I was on Friday. And I know why it was. It's been a really long week. The days have been long. Don't get me wrong, I love having this much time with my boys, but they are long days. And I just, I was like, this will make me feel better. And it did. And I look forward to getting it in the post. But that's not something that I would normally do because, and this is the biggest change in our finances at the moment, and the one actually I'm struggling most with, which is going to sound strange, I realise, is I'm struggling with not having my cash envelope system. I miss it. I've used that week in, week out for months on end now. If you've been like on my channel for a while, you'll know that every week I do a cash envelope stuffing video and use that, go do the food shopping, get the petrol, get set up for the week. That is my routine, and I'm not using that at the moment. There's something in the news about how that obviously cash and money can be quite dirty. You don't know who's handled it before you, and to minimise the transmission of this virus, it was recommended that you use your card instead of cash, which I understand from that point of view. But as someone who loves the cash envelope system, and that's the one thing that has helped me, along with my budget planner, to overhaul my spending habits, to have that taken away all of a sudden, I'm finding that the toughest. I'm looking over there because it's over there, my little binder. I'm finding the using of debit card only. Well, no, not even that, because I've not gone anywhere. But the shopping online is a knock-on effect of that, because I'm not using cash and can use my card. That was really easy to do. I miss my cash envelope system. I don't know when I will kind of re-implement that into my routine. I don't know when I'm going to get to leave these four walls. So in terms of the not normal, that's had the biggest impact on me, is not using my cash envelope system. And I don't know when I'm going to again, which is weird. So in short, it's fine to be finding this hard. It's the weirdest scenario that no one could have predicted. Try and keep things as normal as you can. Again, that's really difficult to do, so I'm tracking my spending as normal. I'm keeping an eye on my budget, I'm checking my online banking every day, the things I do normally anyway, meal planning as best I can, even though there's some things we just can't get at the moment, and taking the time to adapt to whatever your new normal is. Generally in terms of life, generally, but also in terms of your finances. There's no reason for you to kind of beat yourself up over something that you can't possibly control. And this scenario for most people is out of their hands. We just have to wait and see. And I think the unknown, and the unknown in terms of how long this might go on for, and how long the kind of waiting is, if that makes sense, that's the worst bit. So we don't know how long this will take. I don't know how long I'm going to be stuck in my house for. I don't know how long I'm not going to see my parents for, because they're, you know, they're at home, they're keeping themselves safe. It's really difficult to explain to a 4-year-old that it's not his fault that he can't go outside, it's something else, and that's really difficult to understand for him. But that's an honest update from me. I am finding things tough. I am missing being at work. I'm missing the routine of that. I'm missing my colleagues. I work in education, so I'm missing the students that are there. It's weird. And I don't know how long it's going to be weird for. That's the toughest thing as well. So that is my honest update for this week at the moment, for our finances and general life, I suppose. It's such a weird one, but I know it is having an impact, and I am trying my best, but it is a strange time. Up tomorrow is my Budget With Me April. It's going to be a slightly different video because my budget will be slightly different, taking into account things going forward. And then Tuesday will be my March kind of overall review, which will be strange because this month has just been so odd. So again, it won't be the normal kind of aims review and stuff. I'm going to talk about how I found things and things that I thought would happen during the month and then obviously haven't for one thing or another. So yeah, I hope you're doing okay and that things aren't too tough or just strange, or you know, whatever word you want to use there. And as always, thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow.